Hi, I'm April.
And I'm Bayleigh.
We are real-life friends and neighbors.
Together we run a business called Passionist Designs.
Our favorite part of our job is being in people's homes and hearing their stories. As we became inspired by these stories, we wanted to share them with others. That's where the Nestled podcast was born.
So join us each week as we are encouraged to pursue our own design decisions based on what we love instead of what fills our Instagram feed. Every home has a story, and we can't wait to hear yours. Hey guys, welcome back.
Hey everybody, hope you've had a good week.
Our guest today is us.
Yours truly.
It's been all the way since episode 10, since we did an episode, just the two of us, and it just felt like the right time.
Felt like the time was right for us to just share a little bit of our own selves with you guys. So
here we are.
So
how's your week been, April?
It's been a little overwhelming, a little stressful. We spent a little time in the hospital this weekend with Lance. He's fine, but anyway, just one thing after another. So we're on the mend.
Okay, so in the spirit of things are not always perfect, maybe I would almost go as far to say never perfect.
No.
What do you do for self-care?
Well, sometimes I don't do very well.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, this weekend I had like an emotional breakdown.
It's
true. And it's not even that I felt like that my life is so awful, because I can recognize the truth in the blessings that we have, and it's not like my husband had some terrible diagnosis. It was just out of the blue that he got really sick. But one of the things that I do is Lance and I really try to prioritize date night. That's good for me. It's good for him. And sometimes I just need like a minute to feel like I'm seen and that I'm loved. And so that's something that we try to be really careful to do. Mm-hmm. And I know that people are like, self-care, that sounds more like marriage care. But for me, the best thing for me to do whenever I'm really stressed out is to be with Lance.
Yeah.
I'm not one that's like, let me get away by myself as much as I just need like one-on-one time with him. So that's one of the things I would say is at the top of our list. What's something that you do?
Yeah, I agree, especially if I'm in my head and stressed out. The last thing I need to do is be by myself.
Yeah.
But I think for me, and it took me a long time to like really figure out what self-care looks like for me, because you hear other people talk about like what works for them. Mm-hmm. And going and doing things isn't necessarily what's best for me. I think what we do here that really works well is we've learned how to say no.
Yeah.
And whenever we're really stressed out and really overwhelmed and we just have too much going on, like being bold enough to turn down invitations, which isn't always easy for us, even whenever it upsets people.
Yeah.
That's like the best thing that we can do is just stay home and reset sometimes.
Yeah. I think that that's huge for us as well. And I've talked about this a little bit, but learning to say your best yeses, and sometimes your best yes is to say to your family, like, I'm prioritizing this right now. And so that means that I have to say no to a lot of other things. So I think that that's important as well.
Also, I'm just going to go ahead and say we don't have a babysitter today.
So any little noises you hear in the background, that's just our girlfriend, Miller.
She's back.
It's her favorite thing when we have girl talk. And she's grinning in the background because she literally is like, yay! It's that time.
It is.
So definitely our goal is not to come on here and complain every week, because we are so blessed and we do not feel like our lives are so terrible. But like real life is that it is crazy.
All the time.
All the time. And I mean, you add kids to the mix and somebody's always sick. There's always something that you're catching up on. And if y'all have followed our stories, you know that we're like in the midst of a million projects. We can't get any of them done.
None of them.
We're really trying.
Yeah, we are. But we're going to get there.
We are going to get there.
And let me tell you, when things are in order, we're going to feel like we can conquer the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm glad that we aren't the type of people who feel like everything has to be in order before we do anything, or we would never do anything.
Oh, that's for sure.
So
true.
Maybe things will get in order one day.
Maybe.
So in the spirit of recognizing the good in our lives, what are you thankful for this week?
I am thankful this week that today, in approximately 3 hours from when we're recording this, I'm going to have my first, on my side of the family, nephew.
Yay!
And I'm so excited.
Yay!
It's a long-awaited for baby, and my sister miscarried before this baby, and we're just so excited that he is going to be here and healthy, hopefully.
Yes.
And I cannot wait to see his face. And his hair, because we can see it on the ultrasound.
Oh, I can't wait.
We'll see.
I'm excited too.
What are you thankful for?
So this week I'm thankful for Target clearance because it hooked me up with some new curtains for my kitchen and my bedroom, and I've been looking for curtains for my bedroom since we moved into this house over a year ago and haven't been able to find like just the right ones. But apparently what I needed was just the right ones to be $6 a panel, and then they were just right.
It's amazing how that can persuade things.
They've had those same curtains the entire time I've been looking, and I haven't been able to commit because I'm like, I just don't know, and I still don't know, but I don't care because they were $6 a panel. So that's what I'm thankful for. Target clearance.
You know, it's incredible that like when we decorate other people's houses, we do not struggle to find curtains.
No.
But in our own houses, it's like a whole production.
It is a thing.
Yesterday, I spent all day sending April pictures of curtains and saying, like, what do you think about these for my living room? What do you think about these? I don't want white. I don't want gray. I don't want pattern. Anyway, we found some.
You found some. And we're going to share them with you guys very soon because they're very beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And surprise, surprise, they're Opal House.
Yep.
Man, that line,
they really had your number whenever they came out with that line.
They did. I did not set out to find Opal House curtains. It just happened. So
I think that leads right into one of the questions that I wanted to ask you today. Bayleigh's style is very eclectic, very colorful, very bright, a lot of elements brought together. And so one of the things that I want you guys to hear from her is how do you do that style without it looking overdone, without it being too busy and just too much, and also without it going like little girl bedroom, because you like a lot of pinks and that kind of thing. So what would be your advice?
Yeah, we do have a lot of pink and coral, and I think that I only get away with that because I have 3 daughters and a very understanding husband who, like, he does veto some things, but he's okay with the colors that I choose, so I'm thankful to him for that. But you're right, it can very easily look like college dorm room.
Yeah.
It looks like my college dorm room, probably. But I think, and it took me a long time to figure this out, I have to use a lot of classic pieces mixed in.
Right.
And that's what makes it look like a grown-up's house. So that's one reason that I was, like, obsessed with getting my white slipcover couch because it's so classic.
Right.
I knew that I could do a lot of crazy around it and it not be too much.
It grounds it.
It does. And then also, you have to be okay with putting something up and living in it for a second and then going, that's just not working.
Right.
That's too much. So I had this whole project planned out for my 3 pictures of my kids, and the more that I've looked at the living room, I said, I'm just going to have to frame them.
Right.
Womp womp, boring phrase.
Right.
But it's what it needs.
Yeah, you need that classic element to kind of ground the space, because on the other wall you have a fun macrame thing going on, and so if you did like another like fun thing with the pictures, it would almost go a little bit too much to that extreme for your style. I mean, I'm not saying that there are people who do all the crazy and they pull it together and it's cute and it's bohemian and it's fun, but I think that you have a way of like balancing it out.
Well, thank you. I do try. And I think the other thing too is knowing when to let something go, because sometimes there are pieces that I still like, but they're just too much together.
Right.
And so being okay with negative space, I think, is the key to other people walking in my house and not feeling totally overwhelmed.
Right.
Because I don't get overwhelmed, you know.
Yeah.
But my husband would. And probably at least one of my daughters would too. And this is their house too. And I want them to feel, you know, at ease here. And I want other people to as well. So I don't want it to look like a crazy woman lives here.
Right.
But thank you for telling me that you think I balance it well, because I do try.
Well, Justin's a pretty traditional guy.
He is.
So I think that you do a good job of bringing some of his elements, even though there's lots of pink.
Yeah, and he approves everything that comes into this house.
Yes.
So
we're big on that.
Yeah. So let's talk about your house for a minute. I want to talk to you about something that other people who are listening may have questions about. How do you go about decorating a rental? things that you feel like it's okay to do, things that you feel like you wish you could do, but maybe you can't. What do you say about that?
Okay, so we have been in 2 different rentals in the last couple of years, and the thing that's hard is that it's a temporary space. And so your natural tendency is to say, I'm only here for a little while. I'm not going to do much. But then you're not really making it a home. And so my advice is, even if it's as little as like 3 or 6 months, to go ahead and make some changes that are going to make it feel like home. So the first thing I do is I hang things on the walls. Well, that's not the first thing I do. The first thing I do is get paint approved. Almost every rental will approve paint. If you use a neutral color, you just have to ask. And it's kind of a pain, but I always say, get paint colors approved and go ahead and paint the entire interior of the house.
I'm glad you said that, because I think most people just assume it's a rental, I can't paint.
Yeah.
But,
well, I mean, what landlord does not want their place freshly painted? And so if they are able to have the say in the paint color, then we've been in other places in the past and they let us paint as well. But these last 2 were through a company, and it was like, no, we just need the colors to get them approved. And we went with neutral colors for that reason. Who doesn't want their house freshly painted for free?
Right.
And so that's a little bit of a money investment, but ultimately it's going to make it feel so much cleaner and so much more like it's your own space.
Right. I was going to say, you're kind of painting over the other people's junk.
Yes. I will not even put clothes in the closet until we paint the closets. I feel like it's gross.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I do. Then the second thing I always say is hang stuff on the walls. And even if they will not allow you, some places won't allow you to put holes in the walls. Command strips have come such a long way, and you can hang anything somehow. Like, you can figure out a way. And so put your stuff on the wall, hang pictures and that kind of thing. The other thing that we always do that I know seems a little extreme to people is we change light fixtures. We take down, if they're not bad, even if they aren't bad, sometimes I've taken them down, but especially like a dining room fixture and any fluorescent lights or anything like that, those are one of the first things to go. And we put them in a trash bag and put them in the attic so that we can replace them before we leave. But we just hang our own light fixtures up, because to me that makes a huge difference. Even if a house is a really not attractive place, it's an easy way, and light fixtures are pretty inexpensive. Now, my husband is a contractor, so we don't have to get someone to do that for us.
Right.
Not everyone has that skill set, but I think an electrician will change out a light fixture for $50. And so even that to me is worth it, because it's something that you can change back before you leave. And so those are just a few easy things. And I always try to encourage people when they're talking about renting is, even if it's short term, it's your home. And so make it a home. Pull everything out. Don't leave everything in boxes and put things, of course some things store, whatever, but make it home.
Right.
We also are the people who, when we go on vacation, unpack suitcases into dressers. So
yeah, I don't do that. I'm just not organized enough for that.
And a lot of that is Lance more than it is me. But if we're going to live somewhere, even if it's short term, even if it's a week or 2 weeks, it needs to be a comfortable place for us to land.
Right. Well, I think, too, if you have kids, I'm glad that you said those things, because this is something that we weren't super conscious of until we moved after being home with the child for less than a year, having adopted her, and trying to create permanency. That if you can, even if you have kids and you're moving around a lot, if you can paint the walls the same color, and then even go a step further with how you were saying and reuse your light fixtures in the house, then suddenly that house doesn't feel as foreign. It feels more like home. Yeah. And I may not be able to put words to that, but I think that definitely helped whenever we made this move. We just went ahead and painted all the walls the same colors.
Right. And I think, too, hanging curtains makes a huge difference. We're big advocates on curtains. I very rarely say leave windows blank, but especially in a rental, it can feel so cold and so unpersonal. impersonal.
Yeah.
But I think that if you put your curtains up that were in your kid's bedroom, put them back up. Even do the same art on the walls in their bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Organize their toys the same way, just to make it be a space that is recognizable, and there's a comfort in that, whether you really recognize it or not. And quickly organize your cabinets and let them know where everything is, so that they feel like it's home.
Yeah.
And the last thing that I would say is, if you have opportunity, make an outdoor space.
Mm-hmm.
The outdoor, especially on a rental, it's hard because there's no return on investment for anything you're doing in a rental house.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to look at it, is it going to increase my ability to live here and host here and that kind of thing? And we talked about this on the podcast many times, but there are times that maybe you're not in a place where you can have people in your home really regularly because your kids have to go to bed early and you can't be inside laughing and playing games and whatever. But often we'll say, come over and we'll have dessert and coffee and a fire in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And so that keeps it where our house is still open, even in seasons where we kind of have to shut the doors a little bit more than usual. But if you don't have an outdoor space, it makes it a lot harder. So I think that prioritizing an outdoor space as well is just an easy way to keep your home a place that can continually be an entertaining space, even if you're in a tiny rental with 5 kids and now a dog and 2 cats. So
didn't see that one coming, did you?
Did not see that one coming, but such is life.
I think something that y'all did too, since you're talking about the outdoor space, that was really creative, is y'all had, whenever you moved in, there was a structure over a doghouse in the backyard for like a big dog that y'all weren't going to use. And you moved it on top of the uncovered deck.
Yes.
And then did he hook a fan up?
Lance wired, it's one of those things that I have this great benefit of. He can do all these things, but he ran wiring from the house to the porch and ran a thing out there to put a fan up, because if you do not know about Mobile's weather, it is stinking hot.
Yeah.
Like, we're already in the throes of summer.
Right. And whenever he did all that, it was hot.
It was very hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that makes it where at night you can still go outside, even though, we're at this point now that it's 80 degrees already and like 100% humidity. So it feels like 90.
Right.
And that's the high. But at night, it's still dropping into the 60s. And so we can still enjoy outside, but we have to have a fan.
Yeah.
As it gets closer to summer. I know it's only the 1st of May.
Right.
But
yeah, but I remember last year, maybe end of May, early June, whenever we did tie-dye.
Yes.
With all the kids out in y'all's backyard, and it was so hot.
Yes.
And it was night.
Yeah.
And it was muggy, and we were sweaty. I was also pregnant, very pregnant, so that could be why I remember it being so hot. But it was so hot. So, yeah, that fan helps.
Yes.
For sure.
So that would be my advice, is to not look at it as temporary. And really all of those things we can do. And granted, we've painted a lot. So Lance and I can paint like the inside of a house in a day.
Mm-hmm.
We have a whole system. But, give it a couple of weeks. Even if it takes you a month and you're going to be there 6 months. You get some things in place where you can enjoy it for 5 months. Instead of it just being a place to sleep at night, it can be a real home. So.
Right. Yeah, and y'all look up on Pinterest how to paint your own house.
Yeah.
There are some tips that are really easy. Lance taught Justin and Justin taught me, and now we can really whip
out a room.
Yes, we can. Very quick. Without tape.
Yes.
You don't have to use painter's tape. And in fact, I find tape too messier now.
Yeah, it is very messy. And Lance swears that if you get paint on you, then you're not doing it right. I still don't know if I believe that.
Yeah, I do sometimes get paint on me, but I, again, am a messy person. So it is what it is. So we wanted this week to lean a little more heavily towards design, since we've talked so much lately about hospitality. And we also have some really great guests coming up.
We have some great hospitality guests coming up as well.
So while we're at it, we've seen a lot of do's and don't lists floating around the internet, and so we decided to share a few of our own do's and don'ts with you guys.
Yeah. A few design do's and don'ts. So let's start with the do's. So, things that you do.
Yeah.
Makes me laugh every time. Okay.
We obviously have young children.
So, the first thing that I would say is do prioritize your kids' space.
Yes. That's so important to me. I think this is something that April and I talk about often with each other, but I don't think so much on the podcast.
Here. Right.
Of people all the time ask, how do you keep toys from overtaking your home and overtaking your living room? Well, first of all, we don't have toys in our living room.
Right.
Right now, Miller has a small basket because she's not able to play in the playroom as much because there are still some small pieces in there, like Shopkins and things. But my big girls know, like, toys just aren't allowed in here. And the way that I get my kids to stay in their playroom, because that's always the next thing people say is my kids will not stay in their playroom, is to throw away
most of the toys.
The less toys they have in there, the more that they want to play.
Yes.
And I'll share their playroom on here soon because they really do use it. I mean, it's functioning like it's supposed to.
Well, and we, in our tiny little 1,000 square feet, we made a playroom space. It was shared as an office, and we're actually transitioning that space to be another bedroom right now to get us through a few more months that we're going to be in this house. But even in that, I whittled the toys down to, it's like 4 baskets, and then there's a Rubbermaid of costumes, and those aren't always out, and then 1 bucket of other toys that is kind of to the side. But all of that to say, when everything is clean and organized, I can't get my kids out of the playroom.
Same.
Whenever it's a mess and there's so much stuff, they get overwhelmed. The reason they want to play in wherever I am is because it's clean in there. And they can just bring whatever that they're just right there playing with to another space and play because it's clean.
Right.
And so that's the biggest tip that we have about that is to make sure that you prioritize your kids' space, but that it's a space that they can keep clean. And we also would encourage, if you don't want to just throw the toys away, which is essentially what we did, but to rotate toys out. And I've done this in the past, and it works really well. My kids are getting older. They don't need as much toys and toy space, but if you will rotate their toys out, it's always something fresh and new. And I've never had an issue when their playroom is clean, when it's organized, and it's not overtaken with toys, with them staying there. Even if it's a corner in the back of a room, that whatever that space is that you're able to make.
Right, because they love having their own space.
Yeah.
The way that toy rotation works for us is whenever we have Christmas or birthdays, I don't put all of their toys in there at one time. They're big gifts that they were like dying to have. They do go ahead and get those, but they forget about stuff. And then it's like getting it all over again when I pull it back out. Now, my kids are 5 and 6, so I know that doesn't necessarily work if you've got like a 10 and 11-year-old, but for my girls, that really does work. And they know the toys exist.
Right.
But they don't beg me for them.
No.
My other piece of advice is if you are able to have a playroom, which the only reason we have a playroom is we have all of our kids sharing a room. But if you do have a playroom, don't let toys go in the bedroom.
Right.
My kids know that toys are not allowed in their bedroom, and up until this week, they had their dollhouse in their bedroom. But I've since moved more toys out of the playroom and moved the dollhouse in there, and they're playing with it so much more.
Right.
And their bedroom is cleaner.
And their bedroom's staying cleaner.
Which they want.
Right. So the next that we would recommend is buy the right size rug. So this is something that for a long time I struggled with only because I was poor.
Same.
And so you find a rug on clearance at Target, and it's $50, and it was regular $200, but it's a 5x7, and you're like, I can make it work in my living room. You cannot make it work in your living room.
No, and I tried.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand. I shared this with April earlier. This was before we were doing this. This was years and years ago, and I was just a brand new little newlywed. And I had the rug, and I just could not make it look how I wanted it, no matter how hard I tried. And I finally went online and Googled, like, ways to arrange furniture around rugs and said, oh my gosh, this is never going to work because it's too small.
It's too small. And I think that that's a common mistake. And you don't have to have a huge rug. You don't have to have an expensive rug. And if you find a small 5x7 rug and you love the colors, buy a bigger rug
for cheap
and layer it on top. And really, you're going to get the color that you want and just use a plain, really simple rug underneath. But the issue that you have is that all of your feet, at least, should fit on your rug of all the furniture in the room.
Even if it's just the front feet.
Yes. It doesn't have to be the entire piece of furniture, but your front feet of your furniture need to fit on your rug. And then if it's under your bed, it doesn't just need to be at the foot of the bed. It needs to go under. And there are pictures and stuff online, and it's an easy thing to look up and see the right size for the right size bed and for the right size room. But I think that investing in the right size rug makes a bigger difference than you realize.
Absolutely. And a bigger difference than even like the design of the rug or the quality of the rug is just it being the right size. Right. And then on the subject of investing, invest in textiles.
Right. The easy thing for us to do is to think, I don't have the money to buy all new pillows and and throws and curtains and all of those things that it adds up so fast, you guys.
It adds up so fast.
We will buy for clients at times and they're like, I don't understand because all you're doing is adding some accessories. And we're like, yes, but those accessories, it adds up so fast. But you have to invest in things that are going to make a big impact. And we are constantly saying pillows make a bigger difference than you realize.
Yes.
But you don't have to get 10 new pillows. Get 3 new pillows. Do 2 anchor pillows on the ends of your sofa and do 1 smaller one. And then get a nice throw that's in the same color family and get some curtains that work in your room. And you just got to put some investment there if you want to bring a room together.
And if you have an IKEA local to you, I just got IKEA throws, and they're my favorite throws I've ever had.
Yeah.
Especially, I have one that's like, it feels like it's muslin. Maybe it is muslin. But it was maybe $9. And I always want to throw on me even when it's hot. And it's so light. It's perfect. Perfect for summer in the South. So I'm really excited about that. So you don't even have to spend a ton of money.
No. And always check clearance.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever bought a throw full price except for these IKEA ones because they were so cheap.
Right. And don't feel like you have to have it all at one time. You know, buy gradually, whatever you have to do. Keep checking clearance and watch items. I mean, Target clearance is like our jam. But that's where you're going to need to put a little bit of your focus is on textiles in your room if you want it to look homey, if you want it to feel, what's the word? The
huggy.
Huggy.
We've really got to learn how to say that word considering what our profession is. But
every time I forget.
HYGGE, you guys know what we're talking about.
Right. If you want to pull that together and have that comfortable, homey feel, that's where you need to put some investment.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving right on with things to do and don't do, let's go into some don'ts. The first don't that we say is don't be afraid to try something and return it. And I say this right off of textiles because this is a curtain thing to me.
Yes.
Curtains are a hard one because you think in the store it's perfect and then you get it home. Bayleigh experienced this week.
I did. Well, I shared earlier that I had talked with April all day about what curtains to get. And the reason that I was so concerned is because I'd already bought 2 sets of curtains and returned them.
Yeah.
And so bring the stuff back.
Yes.
Bring it back.
Keep tags on things.
Keep tags. Now, that is an issue that we did have in our house is that Justin, for a little while there, would like say, I hate this. And he would be like steadily ripping the tag off of it as he was saying it. And I'm like, I will return it. I can take that back. I've gotten where like I will order something off of Target online. Like nobody's business knowing I'm going to bring back half of what I just ordered.
Right.
Because it ships right to my door. I can try it in my house and then take back what I don't need.
Yeah.
And it's so easy because if you're connected on the app, you don't even have to have a receipt. You just show them your app. They scan your order on the app, and then you make your return.
Yeah.
So easy.
I think that we feel this investment in something if we have purchased it, and then it's so much trouble to take it back. But it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth the little bit of time that it takes to run back to the store, take it back, swap it out, whatever it takes to get the right thing.
Yep.
Don't just live with something because you bought it and brought it home.
Yeah.
And speaking of tags, can we just throw out a do? Once you buy your pillows, those tags that say prosecuted by federal law if you remove these, that's for in the store.
Yeah, get rid of those.
Please take the tags off of your pillows once you have them in your home.
And once you know that they're staying.
Yes.
Yeah, take them off.
There's like 27 of them, and we go into houses all the time, and they still have those tags attached, and I cannot.
And these are worn down pillows.
Yeah.
Like
you've had these for 5 years.
With these tags on.
Those
Take
tags
them off.
are yes.
All right, the next don't be too matchy.
Yes.
Which I think is probably the most common thing that we see when we go in people's houses that are not happy with their space, is that it looks like they went into a furniture store and saw one of the setups and said, I'll take this living room.
Right.
And then they brought it home and they think there's no personality, because there's not.
Because there's not. And I think that can even go into, there was a day gone by where everyone went to Belk, Dillard's, whatever it was, and you bought the bedspread and the pillows and the curtains and the tapestries and the draperies. I don't know, it just reminded me of Cinderella. And everything was the same fabric.
Right.
And it is too much.
Way too much.
Too much.
And gosh, it doesn't all have to match.
No. Don't be afraid to mix and match. And same thing, if you're not afraid to take things back, then it's okay to be like, maybe this is going to work and maybe not. And once you get it there, if you don't love it, then take it back.
Let me tell you, I'm the queen of saying, maybe this could work, and then coming home and going,
nope.
That was a bit ambitious.
That didn't work as well as I hoped.
Those colors were closer than I thought they would be, and now I've got all the same color. Can't do that.
So I think that leads right into what we'll wrap up with of our last don't decorate for someone else.
And I know you guys hear us say this all the time, but we cannot say it enough because I think pretty much everyone does it. Now, yes, everyone in your family needs to be comfortable there. It's their home too.
Right.
But as far as, even though we talk about making your space comfortable for other people, if it reflects you and your personality and the people you're bringing in love you, they're going to love your space too.
Right.
They may not want their house look exactly like yours, but they're going to be comfortable there.
Right. And if you are doing things that make you happy and you're using things that have meaning to you, things that for whatever reason, like, make you feel like this is what I want to live in, then other people are naturally going to be drawn to that because it's your personality and people love you. And so don't be afraid to do something different or to think outside of the box when it comes to your decorating because it's your home. It's not someone else's.
And just to go a little further with that, we have been for months at our house on the bandwagon of loving the Greatest Showman soundtrack.
Yeah,
and we can't get enough of it.
Too.
But every time we listen to the Million Dreams song, Justin always says, gosh, this sounds like you wrote it because I am the dreamer in our house. And he's like, I'll come with you.
Sure.
Yeah. But the second verse of that song says, there's a house we can build. Every room inside is filled with things from far away. The special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day. And I think that's it.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're trying to say. Like, it's not going to be all at once, but just as you go through life, just collect the things that make you happy, that are going to make your people happy, and then you get to live in that.
Right. And it can be a place that makes you smile.
Yes.
And makes your people happy.
And I think, too, we've had a lot of people around us and close to us, and even in our own lives lately, where things just go wrong.
Yeah.
And things are hard, and it blindsides you, and you find yourself at home dealing with the mess and the aftermath. And guys, you want your home to be a restful place. You don't want to wait until you're stuck there dealing with something to then go, oh my gosh, I hate where I'm at.
I hate being here.
You want it to be like,
okay,
a
deep breath.
Let's refresh.
Yeah.
Let's get through this, And so that's just something I want to encourage you guys to just like tackle it now when things are okay.
Be working towards that. There's nothing I want more than for my home to be a place where my kids come in and they can take a deep breath. Where my friends come in and they can do the same. And even for strangers, that they come in and there's just a peace and a comfort about being there because we're comfortable there and because we're at peace there. And that's something that there is an aspect of that you can't bring with decor, but whenever you get to a place that home is that for you, I think that it is that for other people.
Absolutely. All right, so moving right along to love it or leave it.
Your favorite part, we think.
We think. All signs point to everyone loves this. So here we are.
We're going to keep doing it.
Okay, so love it or leave it. This one is up for debate in the design community because there's a lot of people saying leave it, but ceiling fans.
The people who say leave it are people who do not live in the stinking hot South. You cannot live without ceiling fans here.
You can't. And even whenever we moved into this house, we were like, this is an easy fix. We're going to switch out the ceiling fans. And I tried so hard to get an attractive one. And I'm here to tell you guys, they're not attractive.
No.
It's like, save your money. Don't spend extra hundreds of dollars to, like, get a pretty fan. They all look ugly at the end of the day. But my word, they're functional and you cannot survive. Like, while we're recording this podcast, the fans have to be off, and I'm literally about to die.
Yes.
Already, and it's May 2nd.
Yeah, and even as we go into the summer, it gets so hot that if you turn off the ceiling fan, it's just like...
It smells bad. It's muggy. Like, you can cut the humidity with a knife.
So for all of you designers that live in places that it's not 100% humidity and 1,000 degrees, then good for you.
Good for you is exactly the line I was going to say.
But here in Mobile, Alabama, ceiling fans will always be part of our lives.
So I'm going to choose to love it, because if my ceiling fan goes out, I'm in trouble.
Love it, because I can tell you this, I cannot sleep a wink without it.
That's right.
All right, second one, TV in the bedroom.
I'm going to say leave it.
Yeah. I have mixed feelings about this. We have a TV in our bedroom right now. We've not had one. It's not an issue for us.
Mm-hmm.
We don't feel like we have to have the TV on, but every once in a while it's like, let's go snuggle up and watch a movie in our room. And I like being able to do that.
Right.
So I'm going to say I'm pretty neutral. I could take it or leave it.
Yeah. We intentionally made the choice not to have a TV in our bedroom when we got married, and we never have. I know I would love it, and so adjusted, and that's the issue.
Yeah.
So, we don't, and then we especially will never have one in our kids' bedrooms.
No, not in our kids' bedrooms.
That would be such a crutch for them, and they would sleep so much worse. And my kids sleep fine at night, so I'm saying leave it on that.
Yeah.
Okay, I know you have strong feelings about this one, April. Porch beds.
All right, so here's my feelings about porch beds. Once again, we live in a very humid place, but I don't feel like any place is really set up for a bed outside. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason that we no longer keep our windows open all the time or build houses that you can't control the temperature, because they're going to get nasty.
They're going to get gross.
Yeah. I just feel like it's a dirt ball waiting to happen. Now, I will say this. As I get older, I'm turning into kind of a germaphobe in a weird way.
Yeah.
I get really grossed out by things that used to not bother me at all. And so maybe that's just because I'm getting old. But all I can think about when I see those is like, bugs are going to build their home in that mattress, and then you're going to go lay. It's like a whole mattress, you know?
Right,
it's one thing for it to be outdoor furniture that you can like power wash.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like it's going to absorb all the nasty.
So get you a hammock.
So I say leave it.
Get you a hammock.
We have a hammock.
There you go.
We have a lot of Enos. My whole family owns an Eno for each person.
There you go.
What do you say about that one?
I'm going to say I'm going to play neutral.
Yeah.
I've not really put much thought into it.
Okay.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but it does take a lot to gross me out still.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that part of that comes with having a baby.
I think so, too. I'm out of baby stage, and so now I get really grossed out by things.
Yeah. But I will hopefully be out of baby stage in the next few years, so maybe I'll be.
Okay, so the last one, houseplants.
So, I'm trying so hard to love it right now. I begged Justin for houseplants, and he let me get them. And then now I'm under so much pressure to keep them alive.
That is my problem.
Oh, man, because let me tell you, I had to beg. Because he's like, we are not cut out for this. You are not cut out for this. You have strengths, and keeping things other than humans alive is not one of them. And we got them, and now I'm like, if these plants die, it's going to be the ultimate I told you so. And I just cannot stand to be wrong.
Right. I have had, I'll say this. Before we had kids, we had houseplants that I kept alive for years.
Yeah.
I have since tried to have houseplants in years gone by, and they all were killed at my hand. And I feel like at this point, I'm doing good to keep the children, the dog, the cats.
Right.
That I can't right now.
Right. The inside dog and inside cat.
Y'all. It's too much. I'm not even an animal person.
I know. I just don't know how you guys found yourself here. But, I don't know. I've done a lot of research that everyone overloves them and overwaters them, so I'm trying really hard not to, but, I get it because I compulsively want to pour water into them to try and, I don't know.
You're like, one leaf is turning brown, so I should water you.
Well, I had one on top of the Hoosier cabinet, and it did start turning brown. So I've moved it. Now it's sitting on my workspace, so it's got to find a new home. But I also read that if you move them too much, it kills them. So I'm like,
gotta leave you here for a while.
Gotta let you acclimate, and then you can reacclimate. So
oh my god,
it suddenly feels like a lot of pressure.
Okay, so to close out today, there are a couple of things that we want to do. And one, we always want to leave you with a point of action. And so today, our point of action is about your neighbors. This time of year, it's spring. People are out a little bit more than usual. They're working in their yards. They're getting their flower beds cleaned up. They're power washing, etc., etc. And we just want to encourage you to take advantage of that and talk to people. Get to know your neighbors a little bit better. Yesterday, I stopped by some of our neighbors that we thought were moving. And so they were on the porch and I went by and I said, hey, I heard y'all were moving and I thought you were moving this month. And they said, no, we decided to stay. And as the conversation went on, the reason they decided to stay is that they love their neighbors.
And we feel bad because we quit prioritizing them.
We were like, they were moving. They're moving so we can check them off the list.
Yeah.
But before I left, she said, thank you so much. It's an older couple. Thank you so much for checking on us and asking us how we're doing. And they lost a dog. And so we had a lot of conversation about they have a new dog. And anyway, it was just a really simple 5 minutes. But at the end of that conversation, I said, let me invite you guys over soon. We're getting things cleaned up in our yard and we'll have something going on. I'll let you know. And she was like, absolutely. And please stop by anytime. And I just thought this is an opportunity that comes around a lot this time of year.
Yes.
And so just take advantage of it and make the most of the time that you have.
Yeah. If we're going to do a fire, we got to wait till it gets real hot though. Because if it's below 70, she says it's too cold for a fire. Okay,
goodness.
guys, in the spirit of community, we are going to be starting a new hashtag over on Instagram. And the hashtag is going to be Where I Nestle. Hashtag Where I Nestle. And our hope is that you guys will start to find each other through that. And we will also be featuring some of your photos on Fridays. Because the more that we have talked to you who listen and get messages and comments and whatever and get to know you guys, we're seeing that you're also like-minded.
Yes.
And so let's make a community out of this.
Right.
Let's cheer each other on, because I know a lot of times it's easy to feel like you're the only person around you trying to live this way. And we are having to retrain how we think about our homes.
Right.
And so let's do it together. So hashtag Where I Nestle. Use it.
Yes.
And find each other.
Yeah, and if you don't follow us on Instagram, why not, is my question. But make sure you do that at Nestled Podcast, and you can email us at poshnestdesigns@gmail.com, and also find us online at poshnestdesigns.com. And we're so glad that you guys join us each week, and whether it is today or whether it is this week, we just want to encourage you to do something.
Whether that's changing something up in your house or inviting someone over or even just saying hello to someone on the street when they're walking their dog past your house.
Right.
So until next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.